Welcome to Talking Strongman. We have finally tracked down the one and only Darren Sadler. We've been talking about it for a while. We've finally come up. We're at Giants Life HQ.
Yeah.
It is a pleasure to have you on, my friend.
Thanks for having me on, yeah.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, good, yeah. Just busy as normal. Seem to just go from one thing to another with no break, which is good. It's how we like it. But yeah, it's all good.
You're like non-stop.
Yeah, it's crazy really. I've always seemed to just keep my time occupied.
Yeah.
I always feel like I need a break, but then when I do, I don't like it.
You're bored.
Yeah, so it's like you can't win.
For those that don't know, I mean, most people know you as one of the main men behind Giants Live these days. But Darren Sadler is one of the best British strongmen we've had. 4-time competitor at World's Strongest Man, former under 105 world champion. And Darren has probably been in the sport longer than any existing strongman currently. Probably, I guess you and Colin probably been around longer than anyone, but you've been around longer than Felix, Terry, myself. You've been doing this sport for a long time now.
Well, I started at 16, believe it or not. I just decided at 16. I went in the gym. I didn't really like training. I went in with some friends because I actually was getting migraines. And I lost a bit of weight. I used to do a lot of cycling and kayaking and things like that. I always liked the weird stuff, Never liked football or rugby at school or anything like that. And I just started getting migraines. So I thought I'd go to the gym, put on a bit of weight. And I didn't really enjoy the sort of the bodybuilding side of it. Didn't enjoy cardio, but I actually started doing things like leg press and things like that. And then I actually met Dave Warner, who now was a Giants Live referee. He went to World's Strongest Man Britain's, and Dave was just breaking onto the scene of, he was just about to get to Britain's Strongest Man. I think that was his first year when I started training with him, and he was like, "Wow, you're quite strong." So then that progressed onto him helping me out at deadlift and things like that, So, and it went from there really.
When did you do your first, can you remember your first strongman competition?
Yeah, definitely. My first ever strongman competition was a show called East Coast Strongest Man, which Mal Kay put on. Mal used to be one of the top guys in Britain as well, and I trained with him for a long time as well. So a couple of the guys from the gym were doing it. Dave Warner had won it the year before, but he'd moved on to be more professional. He moved on to do Britain's Strongest Man, and the previous winners, Steve Brooks, Mal Kay, Dave Warner, sort of all moved on from there. So it seemed like a good stepping stone. But they did a under 100 kilo category, and I was only training in the gym. I was 18, just turned 18, and the night before, me and remember Stu I used to train with, Stu Hayes, we were in the pub, we were drunk. And we talked about going, but we talked ourselves out of it. And we were both strong lads, you know what I mean? Stu used to do the 105s. We'll do it, and then we won't do it. And then it got to about 11 o'clock, and we said, right, we're going to do it.
We're
going to go home. We'll stop drinking, we're going to go home. And everyone said, you won't do it. So we said, we will. So we went home. I picked him up the next morning, hangover, had a big breakfast. and honest truth, we stopped twice and said, should we go back? You know what I mean? Should we not do this? Anyhow, we went and I came second. And I think Stu came third or fourth. We both did quite well. I only just got under 100 kilos, probably because all the alcohol that dehydrated me. And then I just got the bug really. I just absolutely loved it. And it was a bit of a strange one because I'd sort of Never really liked much sort of conventional sport at school. Wasn't any good at it. Didn't really like school. I sort of left school with ideas of what I wanted to do, and then got into like working life, and I just felt like everything I thought it was going to be, it wasn't. And I just thought, if this is life, I'm not enjoying. I was on the wrong path. You know what I mean? I just felt like I had a lot to give, but then there was no sort of, I don't know, I felt like the wrong direction. So when I started lifting, it was the one thing that like, actually you're really good at this. And I wasn't the biggest of guys, I was the littlest person ever to do World's Strongest Man. But I sort of quite liked that, because it was always like, if a massive guy beats me, I've got nothing to lose, but if I beat a lot of big guys, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, that looks bad on them, not on me, So yeah, we went to that strongman show, second in that, and then just got the bug. And then a couple of years later, I won that for I think 2 years. Then went to the Britain's Strongest Man qualifier, and got through to Britain's Strongest Man, and then then it really sort of set in, and then the rest is history, really.
It's funny listening to you talk about some of the guys that you were competing with or training with then, because they were the guys that I used to watch on TV and on the British scene, and I think at that time the northern area was probably the strongest area. It's gone in kind of waves over the years, but you guys had some incredible guys.
We did, yeah. With the first qualifier I did, actually, the top 6 got taken through to Britain's Strongest Man, and I actually came 7th.
Yeah.
But out of the top 10 in the final, I think 8 of them were from the north.
Yeah.
So I actually got a phone call from Jamie Reeves, who said, look, although you've came 7th, you've actually only been beaten by finalists, whereas the southern qualifier at that time, I think there was only 1 or 2 finalists in.
Yeah.
I think there was Bill Pittock and somebody else. So he put on another one for the people that nearly qualified. So I went there and I came 2nd in that, and that's how I got through. But I don't know, it was a strange time in my life because I just felt like I was a little bit lost.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just clung to it because there was nothing else there for me. And it just sort of captivated me, the strength thing, and I couldn't let it go.
Were you a fan of strongman before doing it?
It'd be easy to say yes, but probably not. I mean, I was a fan, yeah, but I wasn't like a mad fan.
Yeah,
I liked
like
it.
A lot of people that watch it at Christmas time.
Yeah, I watched it at Christmas, but then all of a sudden I was just in. And when I didn't do very well at school. And when you're in that position of you don't know where you're going to go, and there's a bit of a thing there that you can take. I took it with both hands really, and everything for years then was strongman. I made some money. I was never worried about making money because I've always sort of hustled a little bit. I was buying and selling cars and doing different things. But I woke up on a morning, how can I get stronger? What's my next competition? And that happened for a lot of years. It's quite a selfish lifestyle, really.
Yeah, I think as an athlete you have to be a bit selfish. I think all of us go through that stage of, I want to be the best, so I'm going to dedicate everything I can do to be the best. And at the time, I mean, you were one of the top. I mean, you won the world under 105, so you can say you were the world champion, best in the world. But when was your first Britain's Strongest Man? What year was that?
2002 was my first Britain's Strongest Man. That was in Wales.
Okay.
Yeah, and did every one right through to, my last Britain's Strongest Man was 2016. So, and I did quite a lot in between. We did a lot of shows back then, as you know. We did a hell of a lot of shows, probably too many.
Oh yeah, we definitely did too many. I remember, some crazy shows that we've done over the years, but Britain's Strongest Man at that time was run a bit like World's Strongest Man.
It was, yeah,
yeah. Groups.
It was great actually. Yeah, it was such a great. So you'd go to, usually it was in the Butlins or something like that, and you'd go there and you'd have a week of heats and a week of finals. So you'd be there for 2 weeks, and it was so cool. Like once you got there, and with all due respect to a lot of the athletes, there was a few of us you knew were going to the final. So for quite a few years, I knew I could win my heat or at least come top 2 and get through. So the heats you'd sort of cruise through, and then when you were there, it was such a cool place to be because you had all the athletes staying on this big site, and you had 2 weeks of it was all about strongman,
I remember my first Britain's and first chance to compete against you.
Yours was Minehead, I think.
Yeah, Minehead, 2007, I believe.
Yeah.
So you were already a pro.
I was third that year, I think.
You were third.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the likes of Terry, Mark Felix, and just being in awe.
Right.
So it's amazing to, from where I've come from there, but people watch us and they do get inspired.
Yeah.
Someone like yourself who isn't the giant, it does inspire a lot of people.
Yeah, well, that's nice. I've always liked that. Obviously it is a disadvantage, but it wasn't mentally. It was an advantage for me because I relied on probably good genetics and actually mental state. Like people would say, "Oh, well, you got to hold back on this event and because you've got 6 events to do and you've got a final." My mentality didn't work like that. I put 100% into everything. Whatever result I've always got is what I deserve, whether it was good or bad.
Yeah.
Because I always put 100% in. And when I look back and, could I have done better with this, could I have done better with that? No, because the mentality I had then, I knew it was 100%, there was nothing else. Because I wasn't this massive strong guy that was just strong. I had to really get in that mode to be able to do it. So I'm not one of these that looks back, if I'd have done this and if I'd have done that. I think I got everything out my body that was there, to be honest.
Did you have things that you found come naturally to you? Just being a bit smaller and fitter, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, for a while, that was what it was. Like, at first, I was just so much quicker than a lot of people. Things like shield walks and Conan's wheel, I never got beat in those. And if the deadlift was like a little bit lighter for reps, or a log was a bit lighter. But as it progressed, actually, I started winning as I got stronger. I won the deadlift a couple of times at World's Strongest Man. I was winning log presses and things like that, which I evolved into actually getting quite statically strong.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Worlds in a minute, but one of my fond memories of you was at Worlds. I can't remember what year it was, but you had Mariusz Pudzianowski in your group.
Yeah, I used to get him every year.
Yeah, you always had tough groups, to be fair, at Worlds. But Mariusz absolutely smashed the deadlift, and he was screaming around saying, nobody go faster than that one.
Yeah.
And then Darren Sadler pops up, and you beat him by a few seconds, I think.
I always work better if people doubt me. I've always worked better. I was talking the other day about the wrestling that we did, and I remember we did wrestling at Britain's Strongest Man, which turned out to be a nightmare because we all got injured. But I through my childhood, I did judo all through my childhood. So I if you don't know how to sort of handle people, it's you can't just learn it like that. And I remember being behind the tent having a pee, right? And I remember everyone in my heat going, "Oh, well, Darren will come last because he's so light." And I remember it made me so angry, and it was the same thing with Mariusz, like. In that deadlift at that particular moment, he didn't even think about me. He'd already won it. Well, you heard what he was saying, and it really pissed me off.
I think his exact words were "impossible faster."
yeah. And he actually just wanted me to beat Fister.
Yeah.
Because Fister wasn't a massive deadlift. Fister was a hell of an athlete.
Oh yeah,
but he couldn't deadlift really. So he just wanted me to be stronger than Fister. So then there was points between him and Fister. But then obviously I beat him as well, which. So
Darren in the group with 5-time World's Strongest Man and Phil Fister,
who just won it a couple of years before. Yeah.
And you came third in that group, wasn't
it? Yeah.
You were very unlucky at Worlds with groupings.
Well, we were talking about this a few days ago, and like in year one of World's Strongest Man, I had Yanni Vertonen who won it.
Yeah.
I had Fister who'd won it. I had Matt Felix who was like invincible. You know what I mean? I had Dominic Feely who was Canada's strongest man. It was just massive, and I also had. Elbrus Nigmatulin, who was Russia's strongest man, who was like probably my sort of size, but he was just
a beast,
animal, And it came to a point in the loading we had to load out of a like a little river, if you know what I mean. We had to run with some barrels in water.
I remember watching that. It looked horrible.
It was terrible, but I was in front by a long way and looking at going through to the final, and I loaded the second barrel and it bounced off. And so I just went absolutely mad and just started, trying to get it back. And I caught back up with Matt Felix, and literally I put the barrel on and said to stand it up in time, and I would have been in the final, but I just didn't have the energy to stand it up. It was on the platform, so I remember sort of coming away thinking, if that was such a small margin, I would have been in the final, and I was sort of feeling sorry for myself about it. And then I spoke to Yanni Vertonen, who was also in my group, former World's Strongest Man. And I was like, well, if this would have happened, I would have been in the final. But then he said to me, well, I tore my hamstring in event 2.
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes people look at an event, or they look at World's Strongest Man or Giant Slam and go, if this had just happened to me, I would have done better. But anybody in that show can say that.
Every single person
can say that. So you just saying it. So Yanni Vertonen was like, yeah, you would have been in the final if you'd have loaded that barrel. But if I wouldn't have torn my hamstring on event 2, I'd have been in there as well, and then I definitely would have been, because he was former World's Strongest Man.
It's something we see a lot of. I think it's a natural instinct to sort of look back at your own performance, and we all can sit there and say, what if? I can look back at my career and say, if I did this or if I did that. But like you say,
it really made me think about it, because I was thinking about a selfish point of view. Well, somebody said, oh well, the loading platform's too bouncy, because it was like a hollow thing and it bounced off. So I'm like, well, is that right? And then when you look at everyone else's perspective, crystal ball is an amazing thing if you've got one,
Yeah, I think when we can look back, you sort of accept it, but when you're on the way up, you are just so focused on your performance. But it is true, absolutely everyone can be in that position.
Definitely. So it makes me think, and I hear a lot of it now at the shows, well, if this wouldn't have been like that and I'd have got a half a point, and so sometimes you've got to take a step back and look at everybody's situation. Everybody's got something that hasn't gone quite perfect.
Well, let's talk about the under 105 Worlds, because you became world champion under 105, and it wasn't really a thing like it is now.
No.
You know, like, because you were competing in just the open class, weren't you?
Yeah, well, I won the IFSA 105 World Championships. Obviously, it was a big split then in 2006, but that particular year, I did World's Strongest Man as well at heavyweight.
Yeah.
So I'd won that and done the heavyweight. So that's quite a claim to fame that I managed to do both. I don't think that'll happen again in the same year.
Did your weight change much between the two?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Obviously, I weighed in at 105, and then when I got back up to like 123 for Worlds.
Wow.
So it was quite a big difference. But the problem is with it, although I did really well at the 105s, looking back, best part of 20 years later, like the dieting, for instance, all I did was just not eat as much.
Yeah.
And not drank water for a few hours before and things like that. Whereas if I'd have looked into it now, I could have come in a lot heavier for the show and done things like sodium depletion and water depletion. There's loads. I didn't know about any of that.
It's really advanced.
I just stopped eating, for a few weeks before. So, and obviously, that caused a few injuries as well.
Yeah.
Because you're not looking at it technically. I was just wanting to be as strong as I could be and didn't understand it. And I think now with the internet, you can learn these things easier.
There's so much more information now. I enjoy watching the lighter weight classes. I think the growth of that side of the sport has been really good.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. We have it official strongman. You're getting some good sort of superstars now.
Yeah, so amazing. And especially, not everyone can be a super heavyweight as well. Especially when you look at how big they are now.
That's it. Yeah.
When we started, 150 kilos was big. Now you've got guys that are 200 kilos.
Well, it was strange because, like, when I was doing the 105s, there was things that I could win quite easily. Things like Shield Walks and Conan's Wheel. At the heavyweights, I found it easy to win, but with the lightweight guys, it was harder because I was still one of the best at those things, but they were really close to me because I was so fit, But I was the only one at that weight that was doing the heavyweight stuff, So, but it was great. It was, looking back at it, I didn't get as much out of the 105s, even though I won it, as I did doing the heavyweight World's Strongest Man. I got so much more out of that.
Yeah.
Not just the notoriety, just the... Obviously it was on television and things like that. Just for me, there was no... I know we say I was in Marius's group a lot of times, but that was great. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? People saw it as a disadvantage. Like, well, I get to compete against Marius. I can see where I am. And at the time, for strength, athleticism, Marius was the man. Yeah. It was unbelievable. So to put yourself against someone like that,
and beat him on events,
and I beat him on some events. Yeah, I beat him on quite a few events. I'm not better than Marius Budinowski, I never have been. But on those events that day, when it happened, I beat him on a few events. So it's nice.
Can you remember your favourite competition experience? Because you've been able to go all over. I know you did a lot of the Mohegan Sun shows. Yeah. You've been all over China.
Just all the ones. I really like the format of World's Strongest Man and Britain's Strongest Man back then. The way it wasn't just a competition when you were on it. It was because you were away for 2 weeks, and for me it was like the best holiday ever because you were away with all the guys. And it was just such a cool thing to do. The biggest thing that I wish I could have done is now we've got the Giants Live. I wish I could have done more of that. Obviously, I did one in 2016, but it was difficult because I was trying to run the show and do Britain's Strongest Man. That was
the last one, the last Britons that you did?
Yeah, I just wanted to have a bit of a, just to show I could still do it, really,
It's interesting, we were talking off air about where we think we could we still compete these days. And both of us kind of said we could still probably do well on certain things, but it's hard to motivate yourself to compete at that top level again. I personally think if I trained really hard, maybe I could come 5th or 6th at Britain's, but it's hard to keep putting yourself through that.
Exactly, it's very difficult, and I think once you've decided to stop, it's actually, I find it really sad. Yeah. Like, personally, that's all I've ever done, and that's the main thing I've been bothered about. Obviously things like children have come along and, business and stuff like that, which is great, they're the most important things in my life, but that, years ago, looking back, it's almost like it's a different person.
Yeah.
Because it was a very selfish lifestyle. we're getting ready for World's Strongest Man. It's a selfish thing,
Yeah.
you know, and you do miss a lot. Even though you gain a lot when you do it, you do miss a lot. And if you're going to take it seriously, you are going out drinking and partying. You're on it. But I just find it's almost like, I generally think it's like a medical condition. And I don't think it's to just do with strongman, where like someone you've been a footballer or rugby player, and then all of a sudden it's over. But in your mind, you're still that person. And I can still get very strong. I still am strong. But my biggest worry would be if I did a strongman show, like I'm on about top level, is getting injured. Yeah. Whereas if I got injured years ago, I was just like, well, I'll just get better and carry on. But I think, looking back now, I know what it is, and I see other people, and I talk to a lot of people that are almost ready to retire, to try and make them see, if you're thinking about should you do it, you shouldn't. Yeah. If you're in a debate, because when you and me were competing full bore, it was never a debate.
No.
Are you going to World's Strongest Man this year, Darren? Yes, I am, because I'm still breathing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was nothing else.
There was no question. And the guys that are now, you can see it, they're so into it, you know. Whereas when you start thinking, oh, should I? You probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same for martial arts. It's the same for football. It's the same for rugby. Anything. If you're on the borderline of should you or shouldn't you, you need to be thinking about what you're going to do next. And that was my big problem. I'd sort of come out of strongman, and I just thought, fucking hell, what am I going to do now? So I had the gym and stuff like that, and I was just bored all the time. And I need something. My mind is very active.
Yeah.
And strongman soaked all that up, because obviously you're doing all that mad training, and you're always thinking about yourself really and how you can be better. And then all of a sudden that's over, and it's a real sort of shit place to be, you know, if you don't replace it with something.
So, transitioning then from strength athlete, strongman, that was your 100% focus. Then suddenly you've become known as, you know, the #1 promoter of strongman around the planet. You kind of ended up working with Colin Bryce. How did all this happen?
Yeah, so when I couldn't go to World's Strongest Man in 2011. They were going to send somebody else in my replacement, and I didn't agree with it. Who the person was, I'm not going to say who it is, because they were a great athlete. But at the time, I was like, you can't send them instead of me, you know, because at that time Brits were doing quite well at World's Strongest Man. We all went and we all did quite well, didn't we?
Just racking my brain to check it wasn't me he was talking about.
No, it wasn't you. I'm not going to say who it is, it's not fair. But because they were a good athlete, but I disagreed, and I thought there was better athletes. So I said to Colin, I said, well, I think you should send that guy. I think there's this person that could beat him. So I said, right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put on a show in my gym car park, and we'll invite everybody.
Yeah.
And we'll make it fair. It was like, basically, it was like log,
I remember the comp,
deadlift, yoke. It was really basic. And I'll put on a show in my gym car park, and then whoever wins that can go to World's Strongest Man. So it was really weird. So we had a World's Strongest Man qualifier in my gym car park, but it was only because I was being really stubborn and complaining to the guys, like, you shouldn't be saying it. So we put it on, and we said, right, it's just £5 to watch it, and we gave it all to charity.
Yeah.
We just went around with a bucket, basically. So we invited everybody. Rob Frampton won it, actually. But that was one of Eddie Hall's first time we'd have seen Eddie Hall. He came. We had, like, Dave Warner. Who else did we have? I can't think now, but we had Jay Hughes. Yeah.
Jack McIntosh.
Jack McIntosh, he was there. Ken Nowicki, people like that. So it was people that were, like, almost ready to go to World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
So it was just fair. I even now, like, I like things to be fair. And it's like, whoever wins that should go. And it was a basic show. You came down and refereed it. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. And we had about 500 people turn up at the gym. We had to make a car park down here and all that sort of thing. I remember thinking, and I was thinking, I ain't going to be doing this for much longer. You know what I mean? We got a young family. I thought I need to start thinking differently now in my life.
Yeah.
Because I've spent probably 13, 14 years of just thinking about strongman, and I needed to do something different, because at some point it ends, and then you're left with a broken body and no money. You know what I mean? So all these people turn up, and I'm thinking, wow, this is pretty good. You know what I mean? I've only put a little advert out and things like that. So at the time, I was sponsored by Multipower, and I did a bit of coaching with Leeds Rhinos now and again. So I got to know those guys, and the guy who was in charge of the arena I said to him, so how much is it to rent your arena? He said, we don't rent it really. He goes, but would to you, because we were sort of pals. So they let me rent it. They let me rent Headingley Arena, and it doesn't. They don't really do that. You know, it's there. It's for the rhinos. So we put on Europe's Strongest Man. I bought the title of Europe's Strongest Man and like register it, European registration. And I literally put every penny I had into it.
Yeah.
Literally every penny I had, I put it into it. Colin had Giants Live, which was owned by a big multinational company and partly by Colin. They'd sort of done a couple of big shows and decided it wasn't going to work for them.
Yeah.
They were wanting to make probably millions overnight on it, and didn't, you know, like me and Colin, we know it's a slow burner. You know, we know it takes a long time, and we knew where Strongman was because we'd competed in it. Obviously, Colin was director of World's Strongest Man as well. We both had a lot of experience in it. So the first couple of shows that I did, like basically said to Colin, do you want to put it on TV? Because I don't know how to do all that.
Yeah. So
I'll put the show on. It's going to be Europe's Strongest Man. So we made it a Giants Live, and I sort of paid Colin like a sanction fee. So it was a Giants Live, but it was my show, if you like.
Yeah.
And they were a massive success. They were brilliant.
They were awesome shows.
But the first the first one, like we didn't sell many tickets, and we did it all ourselves out of the gym. With Lindsay, who was back working for me now, it was me and Lindsay that put it on, and we did it off through the gym phone. We sold like 5,000 tickets through the gym phone. So it was just an absolute nightmare. Now we've got Ticketmaster and all these great companies. But we did it, we pulled it off.
5,000 tickets just through people ringing up?
Through the gym phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there were some walk-ups as well, don't get me wrong. But the problem is, like, when you go on Ticketmaster and all these, you know, there's Eventbrite and all this sort of thing, you can choose your seat, and then you choose the one next to it, and then you might add another seat. Whereas we'd have people ringing up and say, I've got 4 seats, but I need 5. But then they've got 4 seats there, but people are booked either side, so then we're like, oh, what are we going to do? So it just turned into a nightmare. But we got it done, and it was brilliant, and we sold a lot of tickets on the day, and it was just a great show.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
You know, and that was the first one in this country, really, of a big arena show. And then we did it there for, I think, 2 or 3 years. We did the World Deadlift Championships there. Yeah. You were there as well.
They were always fun shows to do. Those
great.
Original Europe's Strongest Man ones.
Well, the thing that worried me is that the last one we did there, it rained for like a week, and then it was just sunny on the day of the show, and then it rained for a week after. I thought, this is going to ruin it. So that's why we went to Leeds Arena, went inside, and then it grew from there. Really, it grew in confidence. The fans seemed to like it, so we just kept going and just kept booking more arenas, and you know.
When did you officially become like? I know, like, you were doing the Giants Live show, but you're involved with Giants Live now as one of the directors.
Yeah. So basically, I then got the bug and wanted to do more and more. And me and Colin were sort of working with each other and working really well, because Colin's good at the entertainment and all that sort of thing, and I'm good at logistics. Yeah. Me and Colin are totally different people, but
different skill sets as well.
Yeah. So, but if you get 2 people that are the same, wanting to do the same job, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be on the microphone and all that, and he don't want to do the logistics, so it works quite well. So it was probably about 2 years in, and I said, look, I'm going to do more and more shows, and then we're like, well, probably better off just joining up together, because if not, we're going to end up fighting each other, because we both wanted to do the same thing. Colin obviously had the contacts for the TV and knew what to do with the cameras and putting on a spectacle, if you like. Yeah. And I was always good at designing events, dealing with athletes and doing all the logistical stuff. And this is where we've grown to today. It just keeps growing and growing, and hopefully it continues to grow.
Yeah, we're talking of that. What's kind of your vision for the next sort of 5 years? Where can you see Giants Live going, and the sport in general?
Well, I mean, what we do is, obviously we've got some arena shows that work so well. You know, we've done Wembley, Royal Albert Hall, Manchester, Glasgow, Sheffield. You know, it keeps going on and on. We've got Liverpool this year, but some of them will move around a little bit. But there's some, like having Europe's Strongest Man at Leeds just works so well. Yeah. Britain's Strongest Man at Sheffield, like Sheffield's such a great arena for us. Royal Albert Hall, it's like, you know, who'd have thought we'd end up in there, you know.
That's pretty awesome.
So there's other ones that we move around, like we're doing Cardiff this year. But the thing is, I think we move them around until we find where it really works. Yeah. I think we might try Belfast next year, for instance. The other thing is, before COVID, we wanted to go into America quite a bit more, and do some more shows in America, but it wasn't the time to start expanding during COVID. So I think now's the time to do that. Next year you'll see a few more in America.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
well, there's a lot of American fans that would love to.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Coming over there.
And the thing is now, there's been a lot of strongman shows in the past that have been in car parks and things like that, and that's cool. And we competed in them; they were pretty good. But what it is now, if you see a Giants live, you know what you're going to get. You know you're going to get the fireworks and all the drama, and the athletes get showcased. Yeah. They get paid good money now, you know, which obviously is going up all the time. But we give the most prize money away over a year. We're giving like $500,000 away over a year now. Yeah. We don't give the most away
as an individual,
but we're trying to run it as a business. So we give it. If you're an athlete that competes 3 or 4 times a year, instead of just once a year, you get a chance to win money all the year and support your family and everything like that. Sure. We're very lucky. We've got great sponsors. We've got big sponsors as well. You know, companies like SBD, Silverback, Boohoo, and all these guys, Castle Water, Mirrorfit. You know, they're all successful companies now as well, that have actually really thrown themselves into strongman. So not only do the athletes get paid off us, they also most of them get paid off one of our sponsors as well. Yeah, which is just fantastic for everybody.
There's so many more opportunities. I mean, I don't know if you're okay talking about the prize, but I think this year is the most it's been for winning events. Yeah, it goes up every year. It goes up a little bit every year. And what's the prize money this year for first place in a Giants Live?
It's 30,000.
So
for the first prize.
Just to compare, when I won Europe's Strongest Man, it was 10,000.
Yeah.
So that's
not that long ago.
That's 6 years ago. Yeah. So 5-6 years time, these guys could be really looking at.
Well, there's a lot of bonuses. So world record bonuses now. I think we put something like £15,000 on the log. We put Mark Felix always gets a few grand for the Hercules hold. Put £55,000 on the deadlift world record. So you know these are all out there to be won. But the main thing is keeping almost like a league going. So the guys have always got shows coming up. Yeah. So yeah, it's just great that the concept's working, and it's just really growing it out. But the main thing is keeping that quality, so the guys knows, the athletes knows what they're going to get, the crowd knows what they're going to get, and so even when we go to America, it won't be like, oh, it's a bit different. It'll be the same commentators, it'll be the same lighting and sound package. So you'll go, and it will be a Giants Live, and you'll know that when you turn it on TV or you watch the live stream. One
thing I've got to kind of give you credit for is your team backstage.
Oh, they're unbelievable.
They're brilliant. You kind of sometimes just sit back and watch them, and they're like a well-oiled machine. Know exactly what they're doing. It's quite impressive to watch, actually.
There's so many different parts to it. I mean, I sometimes get frustrated when I see people online saying, "Oh, strongman should be paid more money and it's in a bad place" and all this sort of thing. It's not. If you look at where it was, not many years ago, we know we were there.
How much money did you win for winning the under 105 Worlds?
It's nothing, basically. You know, it's nothing. There's now money. You don't have to work. Most of the top guys don't work. Whereas even when I was doing World's Strongest Man, I think it was just the guy who was World's Strongest Man didn't work. Yeah. We were all working, weren't we? Yeah. Whereas now there's a lot of the guys not working. We provide things like blood tests all year round for the guys, health checks. Yeah. They can all do a number of shows where they can earn money. And it's not just down to me or Colin. It's down to you and about the crew. You know what I mean? These guys come and they run like perfectly. It's down to the sponsors. It's down to the people buying tickets. Yeah. It's down to things like you doing these podcasts. Everything, the whole package. So strongman is in such a great place.
We need that sport to keep getting bigger all round.
And it will.
Yeah.
It will.
I can vouch. In the 20 years I've been involved, it's improved a lot.
Exactly.
You know, you and me doing those shows in car parks with a couple of family members watching.
I think people compare things to football.
You can't compare it to football. The money in football is completely different to.
And wouldn't it be great?
Oh, it'd be amazing.
I'm dedicated now. The rest of my life is putting on strongman shows and trying to get it like that. If when I curl my toes up, we're getting the same money as footballers, I've done a good job.
Definitely.
But it's got to be a business where Giants Live's got to make some money out of it. The athletes has. The sponsors got to get what they want.
Yeah.
So everything's got to be balanced to keep it going. Some of these people come, they put on a strongman show, you don't see them again because they thought they were going to make a lot of money. They haven't.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a thing.
And I guess that's one of the reasons you're not paying 100 grand prize money. You've got to look at sustainability.
It's got to be sustainable. I want to be in 20, 30 years' time.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be at a UFC. You know,
that would be awesome. If
Exactly.
we get to that kind of level.
Yeah. So, but you know, I'm proud of what we've done. But like I say, there's so many reasons that it's happened, and it isn't just us.
Yeah.
But one thing we will always do is put on a good show. That is guaranteed.
You're doing a fantastic job with that. Obviously, coming up and talking to you, you know, I could talk about strongman and stuff all day long with you, but I know you're busy. But being here, I have to bring it up. Obviously, night before World's Strongest Man, there's a voice note clip from a conversation that goes up between Mark Boyd and Luke Stoltman. I just wanted to get your opinion on it, really, because a lot of people are asking. People want my opinion, they want Luke's opinion, they want Mark's opinion, and I wanted to ask you yourself. Obviously, Giants Live heavily involved in that. People talking about fixing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind talking about it. Well, first of all, you know, because you're as involved as anybody, there is no fixing in anything. I don't know. I personally find it difficult to be judged by a competitor. You know, and they were our competitor. You never hear me or Colin going on saying anything bad about anybody else. We don't go online saying, and I could, that this establishment does this and this establishment hasn't paid or this event's not very good. We concentrate on what we're doing. Okay? Luke explained on his video what the actual situation was. And I just don't think, I think people should probably spend more time worrying about what they do themselves than what I'm doing.
Sure.
Because we're making a success of it, because there's a big team putting in a lot of effort. You know, this is a 24/7 operation. You know, you see it behind the scenes. It's a big monster now.
Yeah.
And I think people come along and have a go at it, and that's fine, and it's great, and I think that's really healthy. Competition's healthy. But I ain't going to start slagging any other promoters off because I know how hard it is. So I sort of think we should get the same respect. You know, I ain't going to start saying that show's rubbish. I've got my opinions of what people do, but I think it sounds. I think for a promoter to start slagging another promoter off is almost a bit classless, because let people get on with what they're doing. When you get invited to a Giants Live, you know, you get your invite. There's the prize money, there's the events. You say yes or no. That's it. They're all run fair. There's no, you can't fix strongman. I mean, how can you fix strongman? You know.
I think one of the issues people have with the fixing term is every competition is different in strongman, but that doesn't mean you're fixing it for someone.
Yeah, that's it.
An athlete still has to go and perform, and I mean, you've said this many times off air to me. I know Colin saying it as well. But Giants Live is the official World's Strongest Man qualifier.
I mean, one of the big problems is, I'm going to stick up for Colin here, because everyone sees Colin. Colin gets a lot of grief, and I get away with it. I don't get the grief. I make as many decisions as Colin.
Yeah.
You know, and with World's Strongest Man, we don't have the final say in anything. We don't own World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
We're tournament directors, but there's a level above us, and there's a level above them as well.
Mm.
So we help and try and get things right and try and get the right people there. And you don't always please everybody, because obviously what I've learned is these people that moan and say the events aren't right, they're too light, they're too heavy. There's always this. We've always had it.
Yeah, we have.
What you'll find is it doesn't suit them, and it's always the person that doesn't win. Now, we, like this year for instance, we had 30 people at World's Strongest Man, and I'm lucky enough to know more personally, and so do you. Did you hear many complaints?
I wasn't there, so but from what I've been told, no, I didn't.
It was brilliant. The events were great. We got a lot of praise for it.
The events actually looked good, I thought, this year from a fan's point of view.
That's it. But you got one or two people that did complain, but it was people genuinely that thought they should have won. And I do get that, because they, you know, we've said in this, we dedicate our life to it, and I do get it.
It goes back to those ifs and buts, doesn't it?
Exactly. So those people get those ifs and buts and says, well, if that yoke was heavier, or if that was lighter, or if that truck pull was lighter or heavier. But we can always do that, and it's always the people. A lot of guys will go to World's Strongest Man, like me, and no, I didn't think I was going to win World's Strongest Man. I just wanted to be the best strongman I could be. I never went there thinking I could win it. Wouldn't it have been great? But I never did. But I did well for me.
Yeah.
But some of the guys that are up the top there that expect to win it, they're looking for a reason when they don't, and I sympathise with them, because it doesn't always go your way. But to start saying, oh well, that's not right or that's not right, when all the other 30 people were absolutely fine with it, I don't know. And it's not that I don't take it seriously. I just know how mentally involved they are with it.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. And I think Colin gets a lot of the shit because he is a front man, if you like.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's levels above, and as many decisions as Colin make, I probably make more these days. But I think they're not looking at the broader picture of where we've been and where we are now.
I think that's, it's important to see that we have improved so much in every aspect. It's become a lot more popular, so things are a lot more scrutinised now, which is a good thing. I think things should be transparent. I'm someone that kind of vouches for, or kind of tries to get a bit more fairness in terms of qualifying routes and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Do you guys think we need to still improve in that kind of area?
Yeah, I do. I really do think that the qualification needs to improve, which we're actually working on. There's a sister company to Giants Live called Official Strongman that a lot of people know. Now, people still say this, well, how do you get to World's Strongest Man? If you go to Official Strongman, anybody can upload the lifts online.
I think currently, actually, you've got until the end of this month to
upload your lifts, And then in November you go to Official Strongman World Championships. If you come top 3 in that, you get to go to a Giants Live. And then if you come top 3 in a Giants Live, you get to go to Worlds. Now that's happened over the last 5 years with 3 people. Evan Singleton, Mitchell, Trey Mitchell, and the other one is Luke Richardson. Luke trained with me in the gym. Luke's been in my gym since he was 18. I made him go to Official Strongman and qualify. He never got any. He qualified through.
Yeah.
He won OSM. He went on to win Europe's Strongest Man a year and a half, 2 years later. So there is a direct path. So that it can't be any more transparent and fairer. And there's some people who get to go to World's Strongest Man because they're from a certain country and they're the best in their country. But I guarantee the guy who goes through the actual channel of Official Strongman will do really well when he gets there.
Yeah, was it Pavlo Kordiaka won last year's, and he's been a revelation this year.
Yeah, and the other, so Pavlo Kordiaka, so that's another one. Yeah. But the other guys, the other 3 I'm talking about, all made it to the final, I think in the first year.
Yeah.
Or maybe did Evan get to the final?
No.
But you would say he's a finalist, but he's had a lot of bad luck.
He's a great strongman.
But what I'm saying is the guys who go through that tough route of Official Strongman, by the time we get to Worlds, they're actually pretty seasoned.
Yeah.
So there is, it's difficult because this system is quite new, and we don't always get it right. But someone's got to be in charge. You know what I mean? Someone's got to make some decisions. IMG do a great job, but they have loads of different sports that they run, and we advise on a ground level. We see the guys all year round, and like I say, some people aren't happy, but majority are. And as far as the other promoters are concerned, it's just live and let live. Just get on with what you're doing and leave me alone. You know what I mean?
Could you ever see yourself working with other promoters, or?
I've always been open to whatever, but I don't really see the point in it because we're quite self-sufficient. But my door's always been open. But it's a bit of a weird one. Everyone does their own thing, and everyone's got their own idea of what's right. But just because your idea is not the same as my idea doesn't mean we have to all fall out.
Sure. Yeah. I think the great thing from a former athlete's point of view is seeing opportunities for athletes to make some money and perform and be on TV. It's all good.
Our biggest problem is that we can't facilitate all the athletes. Like I literally get emails every day.
Yeah. So
the point is, the other promoters out there, there's so many athletes that are looking for shows. There's never like you go to a show, there's no athletes.
Do you look at these other shows to potentially get new athletes to come to Giants Live?
Yeah, we do, definitely. Yeah. I mean,
do you watch Big Law's Official for that as well?
Yeah, I watch Big. I do genuinely, because it's difficult to see everybody, and even like the stuff that you guys do, and some of the other people that work online. They'll highlight things that I might not have seen.
Yeah.
And we all chat anyway, don't we?
Yeah.
But also like, we look at Britain's Strongest Man. You look at like the UK's Strongest Man. We tend to see the people do quite well there, and they always seem to sort of step through to Britain's Strongest Man. It doesn't mean it's more or less of a title, but in all fairness, the British guys are the ones that are going through to World's Strongest Man. But we definitely look at those results and respect them.
Yeah.
You know, you look at Paul Smith this year. He won.
It was awesome.
He won the UK's convincingly. He ended up coming to Royal Albert Hall, and he did a great job there.
Yeah.
You know, we do. We look at what everyone's doing. I think it's only fair.
Cool.
Because the sport's not big enough, you know, to have a massive feeding system.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to look at what everyone else is doing.
So something you were talking to me about before we came on air is, I mean, we're at Giants Live HQ today, and you're looking at expanding and creating like a performance centre.
Yeah, that's coming
exciting.
up in the next year or so. So yeah, we want to do a performance centre where the athletes all come and train here anyway. So the Giants Live HQ is open not to the public but to anyone who's going to World's Strongest Man or Giants Live. So we get everyone here. Everyone comes here over the course of the year and has a little go on the equipment and all that.
It's a tricky situation for some athletes, because I feel some athletes, are, you know, especially ones living abroad, they don't think it's fair that some guys get to train on the equipment.
Well, the strange thing is, the main guys that are here are the ones that come the furthest.
Yeah, you've got people that...
Eddie Williams, for instance, you know, came over a couple of weeks ago. We got Evan Singleton who flies over. Bibby comes over from Burkina Faso. It's not just the people in this country that come. The people in this country come.
I actually came very few times to train on the kit,
that far away.
Yeah, but I think it's good as long as everyone has that opportunity.
Everyone's got an invite, and they know they can just come and stay. Everyone just comes and stays at my house, and they just train on the kit. So it's an open invite, and most people take it up. But it's not unfair, really, the distance, because the people that are coming from the furthest away. They're just making the effort.
I guess it's just, you know, your personal position, what kind of, you know,
exactly,
for some people maybe they've got family, stuff like that, they can't just jump on a plane, but everyone has the opportunity to
Everyone's
come.
got the
It's not like
opportunity.
you're selecting certain athletes to come in.
It's an open invite, and they all know that. And
So guys, if you compete in Giants Live, Darren's the man to come to if you want to try something.
Well, it's great for us as well, because we get to test the events before they're actually done on the, you know, in front of 10,000 people that can be tested. And if the guys have just felt something once, the confidence grows a little bit, you know.
Darren, it's been a pleasure to come up and chat to you. It's always good to see you, mate. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Brilliant,
it's
thank you.
It's good to chat, and we'll catch you, Giants Live Cardiff next.
Brilliant, yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, very good
stuff. Guys, make sure you follow Giants Live, like, share and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next time.